Hey guys, welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel where we cover all things crypto from the perspective of a miner. So today is Black Friday. Hope you guys had a good turkey day yesterday. Today's video we're going to be talking about prices, right? Especially with Black Friday right now, it's a good way to see where we're at as far as prices go. This is going to go over all crypto mining stuff, so it'll be GPUs, GPU mining hardware, and ASICs. Okay, so right now is the best time to kind of see how low things went, what things dipped, what didn't. It gives us an overall sentiment of the market. So we can kind of see if it looks like we're going to see bigger price dips or if things are kind of stabilized or where we go from there. So let's get right to it. We're going to start with AMD because they were the only ones that kind of had any kind of sale. NVIDIA, not much was going on there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But again, AMD, we'll look at the 6800, which was one of the main ones that went on sale. They went down to the $500 range on Newegg, and then they had a coupon. If you did the zip pay thing, they had 11% off. So it brought it down to about 450. So 450 is where these guys ended up at, which is not bad. These guys are comparable. They're like a better, to me, it's a better 3070. The thing missing in comparison with the 3070 is that 3070 has all the NVIDIA crap, has the DLSS, the ray tracing, things of that sort. But as far as just pure frames per second go, this is your better bet. I'm not an AMD guy myself. If these prices were better, maybe I would jump in, but overall, not low enough to entice me. But if you're a gamer looking for a card, this was probably one of your better deals. The 6900, same thing, we're about in the 650 range. Not bad, but again, with these new cards coming out next month, I was expecting maybe a bigger drop. So if they don't happen now, most likely once those new cards release, then we'll see a more of a drop. The 6700 XTs, so we had 6700s down to 330, but again with that coupon, I brought them under 300 new, which is pretty good because that's about what they're going for used, right? So I know a lot of people like these because of how efficient they are. Um, so that's another option. So again, even if you're not interested though, it's always good to look at the price so you can see the sentiment. It helps you kind of gauge where things are at. If these would have dumped, if these would have gone under like or gone in like the 220, 250 range, then that's a good sign if you're looking for cheaper prices. Okay. So again, you got to keep your eye on things to see where the market's at. That way you can be ahead of the game. So again, these dropped, but not enough, especially considering these new cards coming out. We have the 7900 XTX and the 7900 XT coming out next month. The more expensive version being at 1,000, the other one at 900. So when these do drop, I could see these 68, 6900s going down even further because they are the better deal. As far as mining goes with these, at the price point, not really that great of a deal. But in the long run, let's say a year or two from now, when things go down more, if they do, it's an interesting card. I think what caught my eye is the fact that it's going to be using GDDR6 versus GDDR6X. The GDDR6X is what's in like the 3080s, 3090s that runs hot as hell. It's hard to keep it cool. So this one has the GDDR6, which is in like your 3060 Ti's, your 3070s that typically run cooler. Now we don't really know if it's cooler because there's not as many memory chips on the board as what these are, because this is obviously has more memory, so it's going to have more chips. So we'll see how they do with heat management. So this one does have my eye with that. That is good, especially for those memory intensive algorithms. It's so hard to tell whether that's going to be a benefit or not, because right now it's definitely all about the core with these newer things with like Caspa and Radiant, etc., etc. So it's one I'm going to keep my eye on. Again, not buying it new though. This is something going to be way down the road. Something I keep my eye on just because of that. Um, so that's pretty much it for AMDs. I think the 6600s went down. They went down sub 200. I think I saw some down like 180s. Again, they're fairly efficient. Not something I'm looking at. I think the smallest I'd go is like a 3060 Ti. Anything lower than that, I'm not trying to have like a 200 card farm or anything like that. So not something I'm looking at. But those prices did go down if you're looking there. So on the NVIDIA front, the only thing I saw, which is crazy, I was expecting more, is the 3070 went down to 450, which is only $50 off of MSRP for a 2-year-old card. So it's just crazy how well they've been holding their value, even after GPU mining taking a dump, etc., etc. Um, so To me, what that is signaling though is that retailers are having no problem selling these cards still. So if these would have dropped down, maybe like, $399, $350, $380 for new, that would have been a good sign, right? But the fact that these stayed up, they didn't really go on sale, and they're kind of available everywhere. So they're not super hard to get, but apparently they're still selling. Otherwise, I would have seen these guys dumping, especially with the, 4060, 4070 on the horizon. Unless they know something we don't, unless my most likely guess is that those prices are going to be high as well, like with the 480, 4080. But we'll see, all speculation. But again, this was the only real deal, so not much of a deal at all, especially considering this is one of the crappiest manufacturers or board partners. Um, yeah, so yeah, $50 off for 2-year old card, not good. The 4080s, I was expecting more of restocks, but as far as online goes, no restocks. Been hearing a lot of people have been having success picking up them in stores just because they are so overpriced. Um, Not the best for mining. They are good though, but not for the price. So the card is, this is the misconception. 4080 sucks. It's horrible. The card itself is good. It's the pricing that's horrible. It's way overpriced. And apparently people still buying them for whatever reason. People just love their damn NVIDIA cards. So they've been selling. The 4090s also been selling. They've been coming in stock, but not a whole lot. So they're coming in and out. Lately, it's been less and less restocks I've been noticing. Could have something to do with that they may be changing something or they're adding the adapters in the box now. That could have something to do with it because all the fire nonsense that was happening. Um, don't know, but they are still there. They are coming up. I know people have been complaining, oh, they're not a bit. They have been restocking, but you got to be on it. Okay, this is a good resource for you guys looking for those 80s or 90s online. Nowinstock.net. If you're unfamiliar, you sign up, make an account, you get alerted whenever there's restocks. They're also good even just like for references, right? Because the biggest benefit also, it tells you the last time it restocked from which vendor. This morning when I started the video, the one of the Gigabyte 4090s was on Newegg still. It sold out. It was up for a little bit. You can see it here. It was like 10 minutes ago was the last time it was there. So it was up. I was able to add it to cart. Had no issue. So again, they are there. There's just, you gotta be having one of these things. Remember, you're competing against a lot of bots because people are still paying the scalper prices. You guys are helping them out by paying them, but people are still doing it. So you're competing against bots. So you gotta have at least that bare minimum this if you're not a bot person. If you're looking for these. Again, for mining, not really hot. But if you're just looking for one and you're gonna mine with it, then that's a resource if you're looking. So for the used card market, they actually went up, right? So the prices were starting to go down finally as of like 2 weeks ago. The 3060 Ti's I had been watching, they were anywhere from like 260 to 280 shipped, which is a good price drop from what it was just a few months ago. And I think it was an anticipation that there was going to be more Black Friday sales. So people who were kind of thinking about it, especially with this market dump that happened, they were thinking, okay, let me sell, and that way I'll buy crypto with it, or etc. But pick up these dips. So I think that was the sentiment there. But now that nothing happened with this, the prices actually went up. So now they've been closer in that 310 shipped range, which again, even then, it's not that big of a jump, but it's been holding that price since the merge, which is pretty crazy. Um, there have been more sales. I've been noticing more like larger players have been going, people selling like 20 at a time, things of that sort. So that is a good sign that more miners are capitulating. Um, so that it's give or take though, because again, the data, it's yes, they're selling, they're liquidating, but then it's like who's buying them? Is it gamers who are buying them, or is it other miners who are just gonna have them in storage? We don't really know yet, right? So it's kind of a wait and see until we get more of a mass exodus or see what happens. But right now, I wouldn't consider this capitulation or anything like that. Um, but yeah, so those are the 3060 Ti's. The 3070s have been in that ballpark as well. Again, they were going down to like 330, 320. I'd been seeing them. But now that Black Friday happened, they're back up to the 380 range. And people have been buying them at that range. It's not like people are putting these prices and they're sitting there at 380, 370. They're selling within a day. or less. So 3080, same thing. They had dipped a little bit, so these were some of the better deals. I had seen some as low as like 420 shipped, which is pretty good. But now, again, after Black Friday, we saw that there was no sales on them. They're back at that 500, 520 ship range. So overall, those are the main ones I'd be looking at for mining. Again, the 3090s, not that great of a deal for mining. They're still like 900 bucks. So as far as like hash per price goes, not something I'm looking at. Maybe if I upgrade cards for my like personal rig, but again, this is more specific with mining. The only hardware I'm looking at are like that has been fairly cheap are GPU risers, which the only ones I personally use are the ones from gpurisers.com, as I've had the least amount of issues with those. I've had maybe one go out in like 2 years. I'm not even sure if it was out. It just when I replaced it, I happened to fix it. Could have been the cable, could have been the USB portion. I don't know, but they've held up well. So right now, the average price on these that I've been seeing is about $3 per riser, which is pretty cheap. So you can see here, there's a 6 pack for 19 bucks shipped. Again, these are used. These are not brand new prices. These are for used prices, which is where I'm buying at. I'm just having a little stockpile just to have on the side. It's always handy to have them. That way, if it goes down, you have easy backup. You're back up in no time. So for $3, like a little 6 pack here, good to have on hand. Um, there's more of that. As far as octominers go, they did do a Black Friday sale. It was 15% off. Again, to me, still way overpriced. I'm looking at like half of that. So whether it gets there or not, who knows? But for me, it's not something I really need. It'd be more of a luxury. Maybe one day if, density becomes an issue, then it'd benefit me. But if anything, I'm going to be reducing my GPUs. Um, the rate they've been going, I'm probably going to be selling a few more because I've been picking up ASICS. So it'll cover those costs. So we'll see. But right now, again, that 15%, somebody actually happened to post up their order details so you can see how much of a discount it was. So it was 150 bucks for the 8 GPU version. The shipping is 95 bucks though. So there goes the majority of discount. And if you wanted to pay with card versus crypto, there's a convenience fee of almost 30 bucks. So that was essentially the majority of your discount. So again, still way too high for me. But if you're looking for new, which is it's up to you and the size of your farm. The main benefit you have if you buy new is you have warranty. I believe it's 1 year, so you do have that. Used prices have been going down. There's finally been more sales happening. More people have been starting to liquidate, so the prices have come down. So right now for like the 8 GPU version, I've been seeing, let's see, about 600-ish. It's about 600 shipped. Different auctions, more have been coming up for sale, so that's a good sign. For the X12, they've been in like the 750 to 850 range, and this is with shipping, which is not bad comparing the fact that a new one is 1,200 bucks. So it's been in that price range and then still dropping. Still haven't seen a whole lot of them for sale. They've been coming up more frequently, but not to the point where I'd say, oh, people are capitulating yet. People are still holding on. So until we see that, it's just gonna depend on that price action. If it stays at this price action for the next 3 to 6 months, then I would expect more of this. But if we do have a little pump, then we'll see. But yeah, if anything, this is still too high for me. I would ideally want like X12s at like 500 bucks, and then maybe I'll bite. Maybe again, if density was an issue, then it'd be more of a priority. But right now, it would be like a luxury, so not something I'm really looking at. So let's start hopping on to ASICs. So again, I have no affiliation with BT miners. I'm just showing their prices because again, that's my preferred vendor, and they happen to be the cheapest on the majority of these. If they weren't the cheapest, it was like 100 to 200 bucks difference. But again, the big thing is that they take credit cards versus the others. It's crypto only. I've had good success with them, so that's why I'm showing their prices, which overall were about the lowest prices anyway, including the other vendors that are listed on like ASIC miner value, etc., etc. Um, so the biggest surprise were these L7s, which dipped down to they have a different version. I hadn't seen this one before. There's a 8500 megahash version now, and this one is 79.90 or 75.99, so 7600. The 8800 megahash was 200 bucks more, um, which is not bad. considering it's not listed as like a Black Friday price or a sale price. This is what it seems like they're at now. I checked with other vendors, they were in that same range as well, which is again pretty surprising considering Doge had that pump recently because of all the Elon stuff. And then Litecoin's had a nice bump. So typically when there's bumps like that, these prices go up. So the fact that they went down is a little bit weird. My two guesses are one, there's been two smaller manufacturers that came out with their own Litecoin Doge miners. So that could have something to do with it. They're not as efficient as these or as good as these, but that could affect the price. The other thing, there's been a lot of rumors of them possibly releasing a refresh of the L7. So it could be concerns with that, or it could be the fact that one might be coming, right? Because at this point, it's been out for a whole year, right? So typically the cycle is about 2 years. So there may be a refresh, there may be not. Could be all BS. We don't really know, but it did seem kind of weird that the price dipped like that. So that is something to keep in mind if you're looking at buying one. Is just the possibility of a refresh coming soon. Again, I haven't really seen anything official other than rumors, hearsay, and I think the main hearsay is just because it's been out over a year. So there's a possibility that they may release something, but that price is there. The KA3, if you guys subscribe to me, I posted up a couple of days. I put up a post that a lot of the vendors restocked. So now they have a January batch that came out. Those only lasted the day though. So literally from the day I posted, by the next morning, they were all sold out. So they had restocked and they restocked anywhere from like the prices were from like 6,600 to 7,500. So not only was there a restock, the prices were pretty good. The very next day though, they all went back up. They all sold out. The ones that didn't sell out, they went up, back up to like over 10K. So again, if I see deals like that, like last minute, like little quick things, I will post that up. I will put that out there. So another reason to subscribe. Um, the only deal here is they had this combo deal. It's only beneficial. It's only a deal if you're looking at a S19 XP. Um, so they pretty much have it because the S19 XP is about 5,700. This would essentially bring the KA3 price down to 6,700. So again, it's only a deal if you're already looking at S19 XP in that price range. Um, they do have them individually currently in stock at 69. Was it 69 or 79? 79.99. Excuse me, $8,000, which is cheaper than the other vendors, and it's actually in stock. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. To me, that's at the point where it's like it's hard to tell, especially because right now we don't know where the dust is gonna settle with the hash rate. Because the biggest thing is how many of these things get released is gonna determine where it's gonna be at. At this price range, me personally, I wouldn't jump in only because yes, the profitability looks good now, but we don't know what it's gonna be like once the dust settles. Once these are actually on the network, we see how many there are in these two batches because this is the second batch now. This is for a January release. The other should be coming out sometime next month. So there is more risk there with this one and the K7. Um, the K7 did go cheaper actually. So this is one to learn from my mistake. I hopped on as soon as they had a pre-order. I jumped in at I think it was like $6,200, and this guy already has gone down. Okay, and the better deal is actually buying it individually. They have a Black Friday combo listed at 5,300 for this and one of these little G1 little grid miners. Those miners are $300. So if you have no interest in that, you might as well buy it solo for 5,000 because it's effectively the same price without being forced to buy that miner if you're not interested in that miner. So again, it did dip down $1,200. So to me, this is a big sign that there wasn't much demand. They hyped up the K7 that is sold out in 28 seconds, I believe, which is crazy from Bitmain. But the big thing was that it was a limited release. We don't know how many got released. We don't know if it could have been freaking 50 of them. We don't know. But the fact that all the resellers, all the vendors, this is their pretty much their price now, and they're not selling out. Like I've been monitoring all the other vendors, and so far, none have I seen actually sell out. Like I think they were listed that first day, like 6,500. I think it was a K miner sold out, but then like 2 days later, it was back in stock at a different price. But as of now, if you click through all the vendors right now on like ASIC miner value, They're pretty much all in stock, and they're all like in this price range, like $49.99 to like 55, 6,000, somewhere in that range. But the fact that none of them sold out tells me that the hype isn't there, because this is pretty close to MSRP. The MSRP was $39.99. It's only a 20% premium. Um, so there's a possibility the price may go lower. So we'll see. So again, this is the problem when you freaking go in at as soon as it's available, that there is this possibility that it goes down. So I'm definitely feeling it. Um, the only other miner I'd be looking at for me personally are the S19 XPs, which I was hoping for a sale. I was hoping they would go down to like the $3,500 to $4,000 range, but no sales actually. They didn't go on sale at all. The only thing you kind of consider sales maybe this combo, but again, the main sale there would be is that you get a discount on the KA3, not so much the S19 XP. So they remained in that range. So now the range has been about 5,400 to like 6,500 for the lower tier one. There's two tiers. There's one that's 134 terahash and one that's 141 terahash. So these prices are based off of that lower tiered one. So again, this was the price before. Like BT miners actually raised their price a few weeks ago, maybe like 3 weeks ago. It was $53.99, which was more in line with these guys. But it stayed, right? Which is a little surprising considering all this stuff going on with all these big farms. I was expecting, because all that FUD and everything, well, not even FUD, all the truth, because they're hurting right now. I was expecting that these have a bigger drop. But the ones that did have a drop were the regular S19s, the J Pros. Those have gone down, right? It would seem crazy to me when they were like 1900 a few weeks ago, but now used ones you can easily find in that range now. On eBay, I've been seeing them as low as like 1700 to like 2000 for like the 104s, which is a good price, right? Me, if I wasn't so limited on like my electrical panel size, I would probably be jumping in. Um, but again, I'm limited to only, I think at max, I'll be running maybe 4 ASICs. Ideally, it's going to be 3 plus a bunch of GPUs, but we'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah, guys, overall, sales kind of sucked. There wasn't a whole lot. The fact that like NVIDIA was like holding their prices so steady, to me, people are buying at retail still. People are still buying at those prices. There's no need for them to drop, at least until the next gen comes out. Once the 4060, 4070 comes out, then that'll probably what triggers the next drop for those cards. And we'll see. It even depends there, right? Freaking Nvidia might have those MSRPs at like freaking 800, $900, and if that does, then these cards are going to maintain their value. Um, so, so we'll see. We may not get that huge price drop we're expecting. A lot of it is going to be based off of that 4060, 4070, which will be sometime in the spring, maybe sooner. The rumor was like January, but now people are saying even later because they want to deplete all the 3000 series stock, but we'll see. And then as far as ASICs, they've been going down. But again, the biggest thing with ASICs is it's based off of the correlation of the price of the coin or token that you're going to be looking at, right? So if you're in the camp that thinks that the prices are still going to go lower, then these ASICs are still going to go lower. But if you think this is the bottom or we're within range of the bottom, then this may be one of the better prices. I still personally think the XP is eventually going to go down, only because even if we didn't hit bottom, there's going to be more of these big mining farms going down. If they're already struggling with this little time in, we still have a whole nother year of low price action. So all these guys had issues when Bitcoin was at 20K. We're now at like 16K. So like even if it, picks back up to like 18, 19, they're still going to be hurting. So I could see these still going down. Again, for me, my personal range, I'm looking at like 3,000, 3,500. That's where I would be looking at. So chances are it may not hit that low. This may be the low. We don't know. Again, you have to do your research. You have to look in. You have to see what the market value is. Go into those forum boards, see what people are paying. A lot of times the advantage of going to the like Discords and the Reddits and the Telegrams is that you can see what the smaller vendors are asking. I won't personally purchase through them only because, again, there's not a whole lot going on. I have another video talking about that, but there's a lot of risk with that. Um, but it is good to get price points. they're gonna have the latest prices. You're gonna be able to see if there was a dip, if it's about where it's at, and that way you can kind of see where the price is and where the price is going, right? Let's say 2 months from now, after this video, the prices start going up, then there's a good chance this was the bottom. But 2 months from now, the price is down. Bitcoin is now down to like 14K. Then that may be the bottom, right? So again, you gotta do your research, get different perspectives, different point of views. Look where the hype is. Again, another big thing with these things, it's hype. It's hype, hype, hype. It's just like, I don't know if any of you guys are into sneakers, but it's like reselling sneakers or getting like Jordan releases. Especially right now with these, that's how it's felt like with these Bitmain releases for these new miners, is that you have a release date, you have a release time, you're competing against bots. Is literally, if you're familiar with it, that's exactly what trying to buy sneakers has been the past few years. So it's funny how that's turned into. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you got some value. I was trying to make this a short one. It ended up being super long. Sorry about that, but there is a lot of good news here, guys. Go through it, check it out. So hopefully, again, you got some value from it. Please comment, like, subscribe. If there's anything you're looking at, put it in the comments. I'll focus on that on the next videos. Let me know what you think. And again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm out.